What's going on, everyone? Steve here. Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 3 of Redstoning with Steve. And I kind of wanted to move away from the 1.5 stuff this episode because we've been focusing on it a bit. But I wanted to move away from it, and I didn't really know what to do. I wanted to do something more piston orientated. I like my pistons. For those of you who are not aware, I really do like pistons and how they work. And I stumbled upon some inventions by a guy named DicoTheRedstoner. First off, yeah, big shout out to him. First off, I love his work. He likes to do stuff on the really large scale like this, and it gets bigger than this. Trust me, as you'll find out later in the episode. But yeah, definitely go check him out. I'm loving his stuff right now. I'm just trolling through his videos, not trolling, and just finding some brilliant stuff in there. So definitely go check him out. Today we'll be going over some of his what I would call extremely large doors. Basically, you'd probably never have a use to build one of these in your world ever. Maybe a 4x4, but probably not any other. But it's still cool nonetheless. And we're going to go over his 4x4 door, and if you're lucky, we may go bigger. So we'll start with the 4x4 door right now. Alright guys, as mentioned, this is the 4x4 version of the seamless, I guess you could call it a seamless door. It's not flush or anything. I don't know how I'd cope if it was flush. It'd be ridiculous. It's hard enough to make like a flush 3x3, but it is a 4x4 door. And just let you know, I'm no expert on this. I don't proclaim to be an expert on these kind of doors. I would say I'm expert on 2x2 doors. Not even 3x3. I don't think I can do 3x3 doors, but I'm not an expert on them. And this, definitely not. So I'm going to try and work through it with you guys together. We'll obviously activate it first, just to see how it works. It's very quick as well, which is nice. Got the sound turned down for you, by the way, guys. Yeah, trucks like that. As I said, got the sound turned down just so it's not a rape on your ears or whatever. You can see it's very symmetrical in its nature. And actually the design is exactly that. We could cut this straight down the center, with the obvious exception of this lever. If we put another lever here, whatever, we can actually cut this design directly down the center and have two halves of a design. And I'm not going to do that here. I don't think I'll try and cut the design in half, but I just want you to keep that in mind, that the two halves are exactly identical in essence. I want to have a quick look around it. Straight away you can see you got a redstone line here. If we go over the other side, we've got torches there. Beautiful. And we can kind of deduce that these four pistons will control these four blocks here. If we go up here, we can see redstone dot here into these two, which will power all four of these pistons. So we can kind of deduce that we can control those here. The 2x4 section in the middle, these 8 blocks are our problem. These 4 blocks, pretty easy. And this whole mechanism is just to control this 2x4 section. I can obviously see, it might be better from this side. Yep, we got the probably a double extender, I'm guessing. We've got another piston here, and this will probably do a bit of block pushing and trickery. So before we get in detail about the circuitry, guys, I wanted to kind of explain the basic mechanic behind the closing mechanism first. And kind of the opening works in sort of the reverse manner. It's just kind of integrates a double extender into it, but it kind of works the same way. We have, this is essentially half the door right here. So it's half the door frame. So it's actually from here, these 8 blocks here. So this half of the door that I've just kind of filled in. So we're looking at that half of the door. And you can see we've got it like this. The 2 pistons up the top and bottom just kind of fill their blocks in. I'm not going to go too in depth about that. So they just fill their blocks in here very simply. And basically what happens is we've got the 2 blocks in front of there, as you can see. The main mechanic is that we want to send a 1-tick pulse to here. So we go like that. I'm getting good at that. And we've got the 2 blocks here, but we actually want to get them to here to close the door fully. What we have to do is power these two, and they do not need a 1 tick pulse. Keep that in mind. And then we power this with a 1 tick pulse again. And we have our 8 blocks. I'm replicating this on the other side. Will give us our 4x4 door close. Now the reverse manner works in pretty much the same way. I think I'm going to struggle to demonstrate it. So these 2 blocks we can just ignore completely. We need to get this 2x2 section back. Essentially what happens is we power this and depower this, and then these depower, and then I'm not going to demonstrate it now, but if we have a piston there and a piston there, we can see, okay, we'll demonstrate it. Why the hell not? Like that, and then like that, and then we have to power these again. And that is your basic double extender essentially. And we have the wall of blocks just like we had before. So that's basically how it works. Now I'll try and explain the wiring behind it. So we're going to do this a little bit backwards. I'm going to explain the closing first, just because it's a little simpler, just to ease you into it. So we've got, obviously, I'll give you one more look at it. And as I explained, the double extender is irrelevant in this circumstance. It's a little tricky to explain how it works, but we'll get there. We'll get there, guys. So first off, what happens is this line depowers. First thing that happens, and these blocks get pushed up. Not too much hard about that. Pretty simple. But this line also goes to this repeater, also goes to this repeater, and also goes to this comparator. I'm not really sure why comparator was used. I couldn't tell you, but I assume it's just for speed or something, or I don't really see a reason why it should be used, but I mean, why not? It's nothing against using it. Could be just a timing issue. I'm not sure. So what will happen essentially is it could send a pulse. Can I check that? It does. Okay, so apparently this deactivates a little quicker. Let me check that again. Very interesting. So this redstone dot is pretty vital, and you can see all of these lead straight up to the redstone dot. This redstone dot then gets up to this torch. Oh, and there's also, I believe that this is just a torch tower. It is indeed, and I don't think it's relevant in the closing. No, it's not. Okay, so ignore that for now. Ignore the left side for now. This torch tower is what we're kind of looking at. Essentially, it's a little tricky to figure out actually, because it's just a little weird. It's strange how it works also. So what we've got is 1 tick to here through 2. So we've got 1 tick there. I'm pretty sure the comparator works with 0 ticks, and then 1 to here, but it might work with a tiny bit more, so it sends a flash. But we've already got 1, 2, 3 compared with the 1 here. It could be just a failsafe. I'm not too sure what would happen if we took it out, but I think the thing is it's meant to flash. So it goes off and then flashes back on for a second. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I may have to mess with it myself, but the overall effect of this is the redstone line will turn off because of this quick line here, then flash on for a second, and then flash off once again. That'd be because of this line. Okay, I'm getting where it's coming from now, because this line will turn it off. This line, yeah, it is a tick and a bit, I think, for a comparator. So this line will turn it off. I don't want to break it. I might break the whole system. Then this line will turn it back on via this torch very quickly, but another tick later, and it's 1, 2, 3 ticks compared to 1 and a bit. This line will come through, activate this torch, because this has been turned off. So we'll activate this torch, turn this torch off, and then turn this dot off to finish up. So that's the overall effect. So it's off, then a quick flash. I think the flash is enough to activate the torch. Or deactivate the torch, and it is. Alright, So we've got our off, we've got a little flash there. So what happens first? This torch will turn on. Alright. We'll get to this later. This torch will turn on, thus activating this stack. I believe it'll yes, it will. So basically the initial flash on and off will send a 1 tick pulse to there, pushing this block out. And oh, come on. Nice little skip there. And that will push it out to there. And then our next little thing will push it again, I believe. I believe this will send 2 quick 1 tick pulses to those front 2 pistons. So I want to check that. Okay, so it's one 1 tick pulse, and the second pulse, and it's not even a pulse, it just permanently powers this torch because it's just easier. Why would you send a 1 tick pulse when you don't have to? Because these pistons aren't visible anyway, there's not really a point sending a 1 tick pulse, and it just makes it quicker to retract. So where does this second block come from? Because we send this first tick pulse, and then another final pulse comes through and just permanently powers these. We need these blocks to slide in. So we're going to investigate how they push that up very quickly. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks. And that's after this initially this depowers and turns this torch on. That's after 1 tick. 1, 2. So this will push, and the 2 tick, it's 2 ticks for a piston to push, I believe. Push and retract. So that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect timing with this. It could be an update here. No, it's not even an update. I don't know, that's what I would do, I'd update it. But it's perfect timing, so this will push the block out. It will just stay permanently powered. It doesn't need a 1 tick pulse. I'll open it again. Again, doesn't need a 1 tick pulse because as soon as it pushes it, this just sweeps away, pushes the block into place. So that's how the little bottom section here works. The top section is a little more in depth, but you know, still not too hard. What actually happens with the closing? Close it, and you'll see that this torch is carrying the signal up here and doing its thing with the piston here, but it also carries it up these half slabs. This bit's irrelevant for now. That's for the opening mechanism, so we'll ignore it for now. But it carries it up here to this repeater, which powers this dot. This delay is quite specific, I believe. Yeah, it's quite specific because it's the delay needed to push this block in, so this piston can then push it away. I believe it's, and I also believe the second reason for this timing is that when this torch pulses the first time, I don't believe this repeater is able to pick it up. I don't believe the pulse is long enough for this repeater to actually even activate. So I think that's the second reason. But of course the other reason is just because it needs that delay so it properly pushes the block into place at the proper time. But how it powers it is it simply powers this block, this dot powers this block, which creates a bud with this piston, and the way it's updated is simply this dot also powers this piston, which updates the piston next to it, which is pretty obvious. So it's quite smart how it's done, and I believe that is the entire closing mechanism. And I guess we'll just have to move on to the opening now. So the opening mechanism, it's a little more in-depth, but still, I would say not too bad, not too bad. First off, I want to point out that this whole section is absolutely irrelevant in the opening, because this line will power, thus pairing this line, none of these torches are going to have any effect on this permanently powered dot. It is only when it turns off do these torches have an effect, so it's kind of like a falling edge thing. So this kind of mechanism is just irrelevant in this case. We've got the double extender here, and you'll notice there aren't too many inputs for it. There's only really this little one input. Excuse me. There's only this little one input here. Normally when you have the double extender, you'd expect a lot of inputs from all the sides. These are all like connected. The reason for that is because we're kind of forming a clock here. Now this piston actually kind of forms a clock in itself. I'll show you how that works. We turn this on. We get the permanent power to here, goes up here, and you'll notice as it carries up the half slabs again. This torch depowers, it must be said, and it comes up here, and what it does is it comes to here. It comes to this comparator. It's on a mode in which if it accepts a power from the side, it will just turn off, I believe. And we've got a furnace here. Yeah, it's not a piston. Looks like a piston from above, doesn't it? It's actually a furnace, which provides a very weak comparator signal. So whenever we put anything from the side, this comparator will shut off. So it's a very good way to kind of put a bit of a switch. Essentially, you can consider this as a torch. So whenever it receives power, it's going to turn off. It's essentially an instant torch. If you ever want to use torches and you're finding their delay a bit cumbersome, use comparators instead. Pro tip. So what this does is it will power this piston, which will go down, which will power this line. Remember, this line is depowered now. This line is now depowered. We'll power this piston, which will go to this torch, which will turn this line on, which will depower this, which will depower this, which will turn this off. And you can see the cycle kind of going around. So this piston will start pulsing up and down when this torch turns off. Now, how does this actually shut off? Because obviously you've seen the piston clock. It is a clock, and you've seen it shut off. So you know it shuts off when it's not moving right now. The reason for that is because of this secondary input. These are the torches that are powered by the line here. What it does, it carries it carries to this dot. My apologies. This dot carries the 4, the 3, torch tower, basically a lot of delay, and it eventually turns this torch off after the specific delay. So basically allows the clock to run for a certain amount of time. And what this clock does is, well, this is depowered, so you've got the pistons in their normal state, non-extended. This will carry up after a certain delay. It will turn this back piston on because the power gets to the back piston first. Then 2 ticks later, it powers this, which powers this block, I believe. And I believe that will butt it up, if my theory is correct. Yes, it will. Because these pistons will be in line with these 2 blocks here. It's powering this block. So this block will power this piston, which is next to it, and it will bud the other piston. But the update is just provided by the top piston, so it's kind of just a smart way to do your wiring. It will then rotate through, turn this off, which is a little odd. I really want to see this again. Broken it. Breaks every now and then. There you go, it's fixed. I really want to see how this works. Okay, so it does do that. Yeah, when the clock comes around, it actually retracts these pistons first, but then it retracts these pistons here. So these pistons are over here and they're depowered, and then when the next thing comes through, it retracts these pistons, and then the final pulse retracts these pistons here. I'm pretty sure it's timed, so that last little pulse from the clock will be a 1-tick pulse. So these will just go pull it back quickly, and then these will pull the block back very quickly. So just a timing thing, just a matter of convenience. And that's your double extender. And while all this is happening, you can see these will retract at the correct time. So, and I've kind of worked backwards here because I've explained the double extender first. That will pull the middle 4 blocks back. Of course on this side as well. But what will happen initially is that this will come through, depower these pistons, and then shortly after depower this dot here, so it will pull the block back to this position, and pretty much in exactly the same things happening up here. We'll just pull the block back, kind of in the reverse direction as it happened opening. So let's see that. Let's try and see that in action. and opening. See this pull back very quick. Yep, see it pulls it back very quick, and then the double extender is allowed to run. And I think that pretty much explains the 4x4 door. If you didn't understand anything, feel free to post in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, but you know what? I want a little bit bigger. Oh yeah, this is more like it. 5x5 piston door. I am not going to explain this in depth like I did the 4x4 one. I thought the 4x4 one was quite a good design. But it uses a lot of the, not quite the same principles. It's kind of rotated 90 degrees. It uses roughly the same principles, I'll say. Roughly. It's just, it's like, it's good principles. Like, the principles are fairly simple in this, but the way you redstone them is not. And this is a bit of a mess. You could probably compact this a lot. I would say this could be compacted a fair bit. But, you know, it's not my design. I'm not here to judge. We're going to watch it open and close. Watch it close first, because why not? Beautiful. Okay, just let it finish. And watch it open. Oh, yeah, open. Yeah, what am I thinking? Okay, and there it is open. So what is essentially happening? Again, these side blocks are literally just a line of pistons. So we're only really considering this middle 5x3 section because these are just pushed in basically. It's very, very simple how they're pushed in. Now essentially what we've got here is a triple extender on the bottom and a triple extender on top. The only reason there is a triple extender on top is because the blocks are needed to be retracted here. A double extender would only retract the blocks to here, I think. So he needed the triple extender to just get the blocks back up in. But theoretically you only need a double extender to close the door, but to open it, it's a bit more in depth. So let's see what happens upon closing. Sides push in, and you can see the two blocks get pushed down by the triple extender. But mind you, this triple extender is one block up, so it kind of acts as a double extender from this block, whereas the triple extender is flush with this block. It will go on up, yeah. So the triple extender, the bottom piston is flush with this block, but the double extender, well, the triple extender up here, it's one block up, so the next block. So the triple extender is flush with this block, but you could use a double extender, is my point. I'm kind of rambling there. So yeah, basically triple extender pushes in these blocks because it's one block up, and the triple extender from the bottom, because it's one block closer, pushes in these three blocks. Very simple. And as in simple, I mean simple concept, but hard to redstone is my point. The opening is a bit different. It's really strange how it works. You can see because I'm annoyed because I lied slightly there. It's one block down, so it can push out a bit further. So I want to see that again, almost for my own benefit. So you can see it pushes to there. It must have an extra block it can push. I think it has an extra block it can push, because we're going to watch where this top glowstone block goes. You can see it gets pushed down 2 more blocks. Now that is a big extender there. Holy crap. 1, 2, 3. I lied. It's a quadruple piston extender. Well, even the best get it wrong sometimes. No, I'm not one of the best. This guy's one of the best. Quadruple extender. Lovely. Okay, that explains. I only counted 3 when I counted there before. You know, not a good redstoner if I can't count, right? So quadruple extender allows... So it is a double extender that pushes these in, but the other 2 pistons allow us to push more. So we're going to close it again. I'm going to open and close it a lot. So the quadruple extender has 2 more blocks to push, so it pushes this glowstone block gets pushed to this position. And because these don't activate upon the first 2, 1, 2, so it gets pushed right up to these, this triple extender. This piston tape pulls the 2 blocks that just got pushed down out. And then we only have this, so the triple extender extends, pushes this up to here, which allows this just to grab it. And then it grabs the last block. The last 3 blocks, I guess. Pushes up to there. and then it gets pushed up twice. You can see it pushes up to the middle here so the quadruple extender can grab it, and then it's just like, alright, I'll just grab these last two for you. And that's essentially how it works. Again, not going to go over the redstone behind it because it's ridiculous, but that's kind of the mechanics behind it. So yeah, I want one bigger. Turned off the episode, I want one more bigger. So let's go. Oh yes. Massive. It's huge. 7 by 7 people, let's do it. Oh man, this thing takes... It's described as fast, but it is fast, mind you. But there's nothing fast about it because it's just 7 by 7 is going to take forever. No matter how you look at it, it's going to take forever. Closing is actually a lot faster. Beautiful. All right, so obviously, definitely not going to go for the redstone. Look at this thing. Just, it's a beast. I'll say that it's huge. Just. It is a beast. There goes snowballs. Cool. I guess. But yeah, absolute beast. The closing is quite simple. It has a line of pistons down here. One of them is just a line of, it's just one piston, I believe, or a double extender at the very least. But we have a triple extender on the bottom, I believe, which pushes 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, and I believe on top we have a quintuple piston extender. Let's let that sink into your head. Quintuple. Bloody hell, it's ridiculous. So that's 5 in case, for those of you who are not very mass orientated. So that's closing, pretty much. This pushes in. Quintuple pushes the first 4 blocks. Triple pushes these blocks in. Pretty simple. Opening, not so much. Let's have a look. The left one should retract. Oh, they might. Yeah, there they go. Okay. So it's very similar to the 5, the 5x5 door. Actually, it's very, very similar, except it needs some little tricks to just activate the pistons. I don't think you could do an 8x8 door like this or a 9x9 in the same way as you did this one, because I don't think it's possible to reach all the pistons without some real trickery. So the quintuple piston extender pushes the blocks down into this little section here, and you can see, same as the 5x5, we have this little piston tape sort of thing here that just kind of pulls the blocks out of the way, and of course this will push the blocks back in when it needs to be closed. I'm not sure I mentioned that for the 5x5, but it pulls the blocks out of the way, so that's the first order of business it has to do. And then this will retract the top layer of blocks, so close it. And when opening, you'll see this will get pushed down. Yep. Get pushed down one more, and then it'll retract that top block. You see this little piston tape going, I'll explain in a sec. And then from there, it's just a formality of retracting the blocks in half. And the quintuple extender is needed to retract that middle section of blocks, because that would have been the problem one for him. I want to explain this little piston tape here. So I'm going to go back. We're going to open. It's going to do that first thing I said. I want you to watch down here. Pistons will pop up, and you see this little... Oh, it's so cute. So basically, there's a piston tape that goes behind it. Oh, shut up. You can see this little piston tape here. It just kind of rotates. In fact, I want to show you. I really want to show you. I'm going to... That won't work. I don't want to break the thing. Open. I mean, close. What's this? For it? Look at that. Genius. Love it. And yeah, one last thing I want to show you for this one is that thing. See how the redstone blocks went there? It would have been a redstone block, then a block would have popped over here to because if you have a redstone block in there and a piston here, and I'll put it pointing downwards, just see. I'll put it pointing downwards just so you can just for convenience, so you guys can visualize it. If you have a redstone block in this position here, in this position here, and then, well, let's say you have redstone blocks all along those blocks I just broke, and then this one gets updated, all of them get updated at the same time. So that's how that works. And that's kind of the reason why it won't work for any bigger, I don't believe, because I don't think you'll be able to pull off that trick unless you do some real trickery. So that's pretty much all I'm going to explain with the 7x7 door. It was a bit ridiculous. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you go check out DicoTheRedstoner's channel. I'll have all the world saves down in the description. Maybe not all the videos. My description is going to get hellishly big. Oh, you know, I might. But definitely go check out Dico. He's not a particularly big YouTuber, so I'm very disappointed about that. So definitely go check him out. Yeah, hope you enjoyed, guys. I don't have much else to say. Hope you enjoyed this little piston door thing, because I love my pistons. So I'll catch you next time, guys. Hope you have a good one, and yeah, catch you next episode.